Oh, well, we haven't done the maize yet. Of course, by the time you see this, that might be a little bit out of date. But because we've been delayed with the floods and everything, and the cows being in and everything, the maize has been pushed back. So I thought we'd go and have a look at see what state the maize field is in now, because the cobs certainly, I'm sure, will be a lot riper than when I last saw them. But also I thought I'd stop here because this is an end of an era video, really. If you're going to capture something on film, you might as well capture a little bit of how the farm changes. And I thought I'd walk out here in this paddock because this is the last week we actually have access to this field. Let me just get over. You might be familiar with this field because this is where we had all the fly tipping. Several times we had someone drive in here, so they basically, oh look, they've even shut the bloody gate. Look, they've driven it in. My God. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Look at this. Look at this. Jesus Christ. Can you see? Unbelievable. Oh, just unreal. There's basically a whole kitchen here. There's a hob, there's a bloody oven, rubble, concrete. Oh, someone's roof, be careful, there'll be nails on that. Air filters, tin cans, dog food. Look at this. That's a whole flipping roof. Finger looking good. I'll give you someone fingering in a minute. Unbelievable. Oh, Jesus. Look. Looks like they've driven up there. And also over there I had someone fly tip over the hedge. But we got a paddock now. Actually, there's a fair bit of grass here. And I'll tell you a little bit. I'm parked in the gateway. I'm conscious I might have to move my car in a minute. We've had access to this field for 20 years or more, maybe 25. And we rented it from an old chap who lived in a bungalow up there. It's a bit tricky because we didn't own this field, and it became a little bit tricky in the fact that because you don't own something, you can't actually sort of maintain it in the way you'd want to. So really needed a new gate. There's issues here. Look, this tree's come down in the hedge. That's just come down the last week actually, but the hedge there really wanted laying. There's no water here and there's no fencing, so we couldn't put cattle here. And so we, as you well know, we've made round bales out here over the years. Okay, I am here with Jack, who's come to help me this morning. Well, he's supervising really, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I'm opening the gates for you.
So he's got to open the gates where we drive through cattle. Basically, I am loading up round bales that we had baled before the main cut silage. And I've taken a crop of grass off here probably 3 times a year, put a bit of muck on it, and there's a reasonable amount of grass, but really not quite enough for another cut of grass on it. You might get a few bales, but it was like marginal. Anyway, the other issue we have with this field is the bracken was coming in and invading a bit, and that was a problem for us with getting in the bale. So every time I mowed it, I had to pick the bracken out. I'm just walking up now. You'll be able to see the bracken coming through. Look, it's very difficult to get rid of bracken. Look, here it is. There it is. It's a fern. It looks like quite attractive. It's like a fern-like plant. And you can see up there further, I'm not going to walk any more up there, you can see up there big lumps of bracken coming out from the hedge. So we've rented this field off the old chap who lives in a bungalow up there for 20 odd years, maybe more. He came saw my dad one day and said, would you interested in having the field? And it was an opportunity, it's near us, so we rented it. And anyway, I'll just tell you a little bit about this, because the back warning lights flashing. I'll just change, we're back in a sec. Yeah, sorry about that, the memory card was full. Yeah, so we rented this off this chap for probably 20 years, and we paid him rent every year, and he was quite happy for us to have it. And in that time he changed from a man who would walk out and see me with a stick and have a chat to someone who became housebound, couldn't look after himself very well. My brother, fair play to my brother stepped in and visited him daily. He's a funny chap. His house, we'll have a little look at the house in a minute. The place just fell down around him. He was very stubborn, didn't want to have any help, didn't want to go into a care home, couldn't really look after himself, and did get nursing help towards the end. He died in January, so since January we've been on a kind of limited amount of time. We knew we'd have this field. It's a good field, it's a nice size, look, it's a very handy paddock. But we knew, while it was in probate, we knew that it was gonna be sort of like with us, because they basically said you can carry on using it while it's in probate. Once it came out of probate, it's obviously going to be sold, because it was left to, well, some various people. It's not my business to say where it went, but I know where it went, or where the money's going. So it's going to be sold. By the time you see this video, it probably will be sold. It was on an auction site. I don't know who's buying it, and I know someone who's interested. The field is being sold with the house, so there wasn't really the start price. Let me tell you, is £450,000 for the house and field, so it wasn't going to be an option for us just to buy the field. I mean, I wasn't in the business of, well, I couldn't afford to buy a flipping building site, which we'll see in a minute. So realistically, this is our end, or I believe it is the end. Who knows, maybe that won't be the case, I don't know, depends what the owner wants to do with it. Probably the end of us being on this field, and I've kind of almost abandoned it now, because the grass there, we didn't put any muck on or fertilizer earlier in the year, because we knew we weren't going to be here, which is why the crop isn't quite, you know, how did we know when, you know, we could have probably got another cut of grass off it, but there wasn't any point in me throwing 300 quid's worth of fertilizer on here, or whatever it would have cost to fertilize this field, if they turned around and said you need to leave now. So hence why there isn't a very good crop here, which is unfortunate, because we're into October now. I probably could have cut that one more time, but I didn't know that at the time. Also, likewise, this tree's fallen down. You know, next person who has this field, that's their problem, not mine. So anyway, it's kind of almost like beat surrender. It's like the end of empire. I'm withdrawing from this field. I'm a little bit sad, but it is the end of the ownership and on to someone else. My only hope is whoever has this field after us will farm it and it doesn't turn into some sort of caravan park or something like that, because we know who potential people could buy it could be. I'm hoping it'll stay farmed. There is some good news, but I've got something special I'm working on at the moment, which will make up for this, which I can't tell you about yet, but I will tell you at some point. So that's the end of an era for us on this field. There it goes. You've seen me out there. You've seen me years and years of mowing. That's where I demoed the Massey mower I didn't buy. Right, let me take a photo of you stood in the grass. Harry, we've got a hell of a crop of grass here. Oh, this phone thing, I can trying to get. Phone if you want. I'll get it. Right, you ready? Harry, look at me. I think. But that's the reality of life. Unless you own something, And this goes for the same for a house or anything. Unless you own something, if you rent something, there's no guarantee forever that you got it forever. So we're losing that field, and that's the end of that, which is a real shame. It's a lovely little spot, very nice. Do you know what? I will miss it actually. Don't spend that much time out there, but I will miss it because I used to enjoy mowing it, and it was my happy place mowing. I sort of sit on the tractor and mow, and lovely blue sky. I kind of almost, in my memories, already sat here. I'm a bit sad because I think I used to enjoy going out there and getting a few bales and mowing that, and that probably won't happen again. Anyway, we're gonna go and look at the maize, and then I'll just show you where the old chap lived and show you it's up for sale. Whoever buys it, good luck to them. Let's go have a look at the maize. Right, so I'm hoping this will be off this week. I am a bit behind my videos, so you won't necessarily see this video. Sorry, the maize video might be filmed. By the time you're watching this, I might have filmed it and it might be off, but I won't have uploaded it to YouTube because it does take me a while. You can see a slight deterioration in the plant now. It's sort of shriveling back compared with when I came out here in the spring. It's all shriveling back. That's not really a problem actually, because what we're interested in are these cobs. And I imagine these are pretty ripe now. I'll just pick this one randomly. In fact, I'll just take it off because I can take that back to the chickens. I don't mind wasting these so much when you know you've got a use for them. Don't really want to take too. Let me get out of here. I don't really want to go further in. But what do you reckon that? Let me just put that between my legs. That looks a bit rude, doesn't it? There we go. There we are. Oh yeah, you got a proper ripe cob now, which will. The good thing about them ripening like that is that will squash up much better when it goes through the forager. What you don't want is them when they're milky. These are quite hard now. We don't want them too hard, so they will squash up. And that will go through the forager. This is still green. It's still going to give us plenty of bulk, because not just hasn't got so much feed value in that, but that's the feed value. But I appreciate that gives me some bulk in their diet and slows down the other silage. It's a fine balance getting it right, really. But that's rock hard now. If you're having that served on a plate in a restaurant, you'd be a bit gutted. Probably don't serve sweet corn in restaurants these days, do they? Probably serve. It's more of a barbecue thing, isn't it, or something? Right, let's get out of here. No, the chickens love that. Right, so that's coming off this week, hopefully. We're going to go and have a look at finally the bungalow that goes with that field that's up for auction. And like I say, it's on Rightmove. If you look up Titherington Rightmove, you might just see it, but I think it'll be sold by the time you watch this. I'm not trespassing. There is a public footpath down the side of the building, and I'll just walk you down the side of it, because it's none of my business to go on it. I wouldn't trespass on someone else's property, but I'm not breaking any laws by actually going on a footpath or filming from a footpath. Right, let's go and have a look, because it's hard to believe that someone lived there. You can just see here our neighbours got off their maize just before the really bad weather, so they managed to get theirs off the other week. But there's also a field behind us. Can you see where those telegraph poles, the other side of our maize? They haven't got theirs off yet. Look, you can see it there. We're by no means the last people to get our maize harvest off, but they were lucky. Good luck to them. So this is the old man's house, David's house. Like I said, he was a bit of a character. Lived here with his brother. His brother died. He was left on his own. His two brothers. They did farm actually when they were younger, and then obviously, so the field is just there, the other side of that hedge. Oh, there is a bit of grass out there. Being a typical farmer, everything you look at, you think, oh, there's a bit of grass there. I could have had that. And now with the winter we got, and I'm sort of wondering, I wish I had gone out there and topped that, but to be honest, I think probably only got half a dozen bales out of it. Oh, there's a sweet corn there. Look, I bet the crows have had that from our field. So this is the gateway. There's a bungalow up there. We'll have a little look on the footpath. I'm not going to go and poke around the garden. That's none of my business. He lived in the house, and it was a little bit sad towards the end, actually, to be honest. He lived in the house. He couldn't cope looking after himself, and you know, you really, it's a lesson for us all. You need to accept help and make decisions while you're still able to. And unfortunately, we're going in the footpath now. Look. Unfortunately, he wasn't willing to do that, and so he kind of lived in a bit of a state, really. Bless my brother, he worked really hard to try and help him, but he wasn't willing to be helped. And you know, that's what they always say, if you're not willing to be helped, you can't help people. So there's the garden. You see, it just went out of hand, and my brother tried keeping this down. And we're on the public footpath now. I said I'm not going to trespass into there. The house is behind there. You can just see the wall. And there's a lovely old shed, interesting old shed actually, which I think was probably used as some sort of blacksmiths or something at some point. Big plot. Look at the old shed, look. The shed itself is quite interesting. Do you know, the actual bungalow, it's for sale. I'm not really interested, it's a very nondescript bungalow, but the shed, well built in its day. Oh, you can't see much in there now. I think they emptied it all out. A few cobwebs, big tables in the middle. And there's the access. This is a field behind our field. Look, our footpath and everything goes on up there. And that's our maize over there. And this is the gate that was originally, there's a footpath, look. Oh look, never saw that. Avon County Council, that's a long time ago, because Avon County Council doesn't exist anymore. That's historic in its own way. It's all volunteers from Thornbury Rambling Club. You might need to come back soon and fit a new one. That bottom, oh yeah, that bottom board's gone. They're nice steel gates though. But yeah, so it's all a bit overgrown, needs a lot of work. I'm sure whoever buys this will end up probably, well, they'll either have to knock the bungalow down and put a new place on the site, or they might just extend what's there and make it bigger and do something. I don't know really, that's up to them, isn't it? But end of an era, like I said, end of an era for the family that lived here, owned it, didn't have any children, so the site's going to be sold on to someone else. And an end of an era for us really, and I wanted to do this video just really kind of capture a little bit of history, because it is the end of an era for us in that field. I think it is anyway. Until I know who the owner is and what the score is there, I don't know. But yeah, kind of almost a little bit sad, because you don't like sort of backing out of something, you know, you leave something. But like I said, there's some positive news coming, which I will tell you on about in another video, probably in a fairly recent soon, is that word? Soon. All right, crack on.